Hey YouTube friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is LaDonna. I'm a homeschooling mom of two, and on my channel I just like to share what we are learning, how we are growing, and what God is doing in our lives. Okay friends, I want to do my very first check-in for the 2022-2023 homeschool. Now, I think last school year I probably did about 5 or 6 of these, I'm not sure, give or take. But then when the holidays came along, our life accelerated, just like yours, I'm sure, and I just could not keep up. I'm going to try to do better at this this year. I just may do bigger chunks. I don't know. We're just gonna have to see, you know, how the year unfolds. I'm not gonna make any promises. I thank you for your grace and for your understanding. But I do want to share with you how this school year is going. So we are exactly 10 days into the 2022-2023 school year. For those of you who are new, my son is 12 and he is a 7th grader. My daughter is 10 and she is a 5th grader. If I had to peg her anywhere, I would say she's more of an in-between. My children did come from the public school system and I started homeschooling after the pandemic, and we had to work through several gaps. So I feel like with her, since she has been home and we've been on this journey, we've kind of been doing double duty, if that makes any kind of sense. I don't even know if that's the right language, but a lot of her work is at a 5th grade level, and whatever I need to scale back, I scale back on. So anyway, okay, that's a super long intro. I really don't want to have to do a whole bunch of editing, and I don't want this video to be crazy long, so it's a lot of pressure. Okay, so here's our update. We're 10 days into the school year. How are we doing? Well, first, by God's amazing grace, I don't have to make a bunch of crazy changes. I'm so thankful for that. So thankful. If you've been around here, you know that it is my heart's desire to make sure I'm serving my children in our homeschool. And what I mean by that is tailoring their subjects to their needs and to their learning styles. You know, we're pretty classical when it comes to English language arts and math, but for history and science, I want to make sure that they are learning the way that suits their needs. So anyway, after a lot of prayer, especially for my 7th grader, because I feel like he has all new curriculum except for his science, but I did change some things up this year. So anyway, all that is going really well. I am so pleased to report I've only had to make one adjustment. I'm going to share that adjustment with you in a minute, but what I want to do in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the things that are standing out to me. What's standing out in our morning basket, what is standing out for my 5th grader, and what is standing out for my 7th grader. What kind of conversations have we had? How is it going? First, our schedule's going really well. We started the school year on a Wednesday. So we schooled Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it was a soft start. We just kind of eased into our schedule softly, and then that very next Monday, we just jumped in, and I'm so glad we did a soft start. I'm not going to say that the very first week of school didn't take its toll, because it did. And what I mean by that is, you know, just transitioning into a schedule. We take the summers off because we need to. My husband is a pastor, so our summer schedule is really full ministry-wise, and I just cannot commit to homeschooling all year long. We need that time off, and we actually look forward to it. But I will say, going from a summer schedule to a school schedule, it is definitely a big transition. So we felt that transition. God was gracious. I feel like we have adjusted and our rhythm is working well for us. So let's just go ahead and jump in. I'm already 5 minutes into this, and like I said, I don't want it to be crazy long. Okay, so let's talk about the morning basket. The few things in our morning basket that I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about this read aloud. We are going to finish this tomorrow. You know, this is recommended, does it say on here? This is recommended for children 8 through 12. So, you know, the reading level is super easy. As you can see, there aren't a lot of words on the page. I can read about 2 chapters a day, sometimes 3 because the chapters are short, but this book is so funny. Even my 12-year-old son has enjoyed this. Now, if you buy this book and you read this book and you get to the one time or maybe two times they use the word stupid, I don't want you to be mad at me. I am going to tell you those words are in this book. You just have to know that this story is coming from Pearl's point of view. So Pearl is the main character. I think she's 9 or 10 years old, and it's being told from her perspective, but it is so funny. It is, you know, a book that it's kind of been hard to put down. It's been interesting to see the story unfold from her perspective. So the back says, lights, camera, action. Pearl lives on a ranch where her chores include collecting eggs and feeding ostriches. She knows a thing or two about horses too, just like her 3 older brothers. One day, Pearl's brothers get a job doing stunts for a new form of entertainment called moving pictures. Before she knows it, Pearl has stumbled into being a stunt girl herself and dreams of becoming a star. The only problem is her mother has no idea what she's up to. And let's just say she wouldn't be too happy to find out that Pearl's been jumping out of burning buildings in her spare time. Again, this has been a great read aloud. I'm so glad that we started our school year off with this, and I can't recommend it more. So anyway, the nerviest girl in the world, and I just love the cover. And there are some pictures in here as well that just kind of give you an idea of what's happening. I think there was one right there, but you can see it. So anyway, check it out. You won't regret it. Okay, the next thing from our morning basket that I want to talk about is our poetry study. So we've incorporated poetry study and picture study this year. Now, I said in my previous video that we will do 1 a month. We're not going to do 2 because we don't have the time. So in order to make sure that we're making enough time for both, I'm just focusing on 1 a month. So we started on our poetry study, and we are studying the poems from Robert Louis Stevenson. So like I said, we are spending the whole month of August on this, and then when September starts, I'm going to put this down, and then we're going to pick up our picture study, and we are going to stick with this poet. I'm not switching around. And the same thing with our picture study. Who are we studying? I just messed that up. Homer. This is our picture study. So we will spend the entire month of September on this. We're going to move through it slowly. I'm not trying to rush through it. And then come October, I will pick this back up. So anyway, I hope that's clear. We have started with our poetry study, and we love it. I've had a few questions as to how I'm implementing this, and basically I am implementing it the way that the Simply Charlotte Mason Company suggests. So here's just a picture inside. You could see a table of contents and even a picture of the poet, and I will show you the very first poem if I can get to it. Yeah, it tells you right here how to enjoy the poems. And then there's a biography of the poet, so they suggested that you start off with that. And then here is the very first poem. So what we did was we read this poem for a whole week. We talked about it. We talked about words that they didn't know. We talked about imagery. And even right here, there's a discussion prompt for the setting. And those discussion prompts or definitions are all throughout the book. So if you come across something you really don't know how to explain, it's there, or maybe it's just a surface level explanation and you can go on the internet. But what we did was we read this for a whole week. And then at the end of the week, I gave both of my children a notebook, and I told them to pick out one verse from the poem that they really liked. So I'm just going to come to this one. This one is Annabeth's, and the first poem we studied was called The Summer Sun. So I told them that they had to write out their very favorite verse, and then they had to illustrate it. So they've already done this for 2. This is Annabeth's, and then this is David's, and I do give them time. So this one was David's. I thought this was really cute because the verse that he picked was to slip his golden fingers through. So this poem was all about the sun, and he made it look like the sun had fingers and he was reaching for a doorknob. And then the next one, where is his? Here is his next one. So this has been really, really special. I want to make sure we're making time for observation and we're just not rushing through it. We've really just enjoyed doing this together in the mornings. Okay, moving on. Let's start with where do I want to start? let's just start with David. Okay, first I want to start with his history. We are using the World Story 2 by Master Books, the Middle Ages, and he loves this, and I love that he loves this. We love the format, we love the schedule, we love how it incorporates narration and the different comprehension activities. We love it. He has said to me twice already, Mom, I think history is my favorite subject. So we did not use this last year. Last year history was a group subject and we studied ancient history. That is why I have him studying the Middle Ages right now, and I just could not be more pleased. But what I want you to know is my son is a reader. He is a reader. I give this to him and he does it on his own. He is very self-motivated. He enjoys reading. So this is not an issue for him. Please don't take this and think, oh, well, if it's working for her, it's going to work for us. It just happens to be working for my son and he really enjoys it. And because he's really enjoying it, I wanted to share it with you. I think that this is a fantastic option for middle schoolers, and I could not be more pleased with this. Okay, next on the list, Fix-It Grammar. Oh my goodness, we are loving it. For those of you who are new around here, my son, again, he's in 7th grade. When we started homeschooling, he was a 5th grader. So his 5th grade year and 6th grade year, we did BJU Press. This is my daughter's book. I love BJU Press. I don't want to get into that here. I've talked about it numerous other times in other videos, but when it comes to the grammar, the different parts of speech, I believe that BJU Press gives students a firm foundation. Because of that, this is a piece of cake. Now this is where he is supposed to be, and I can definitely see how it was easy in the beginning and now it's getting harder, but because of his foundation, he is not struggling with the different parts of speech, and I'm just so proud. I don't know if any of you have ever had those moments where you've wondered, was that the right curriculum pick? Was that the right direction? You know, I struggled with all of those questions in the beginning, but now seeing it play out, I can see the fruit, and I'm just so proud, and he loves it. He does this on his own. Every now and then he'll have a question and he's able to move forward. He is doing the writing with this as well, and he likes that, and that's one of the other things I love about BJU Press. They incorporate writing in their curriculum, so he has a very strong understanding of the writing process, and I'm so proud of that. Okay, the next thing for him is spelling workout. This was new for us. I've never used this curriculum before, but I knew that I wanted to incorporate spelling with him. I did ask him what he thought, and he felt like he still needed some more practice. I know, what 12-year-old boy says that? But for him, he just wanted more practice, so I found this. It was affordable, and it was what I was looking for. So why am I showing you this? It's not that he loves it. He does like the layout, and he does like that he doesn't have to spend more than 15 minutes on it. But what I am so impressed with, let me get to a week he hasn't started on. What I'm so impressed with is the word list. Can you guys see this? The word list is in cursive, and he does know how to write in cursive. The schools that he had gone to in the past, he was in a private school in 2nd grade, and they taught cursive, so he had a really good foundation, and even in our homeschool he'll still write in cursive, but it's challenging him to read in cursive, and I just really do love that. He'll come in and ask me, hey, I think this word is this right? And I give him a thumbs up, and yeah, I just love the fact that even though it's spelling, he is getting a little bit of challenge with the cursive reading. Okay, moving on to my 5th grader. I'm going to try to get through this quickly. Okay, the one change that I've had to make is with my 5th grader, and it is with her, let me see if I can get to the beginning of this. It is with her spelling. As we started to approach the school year and I'm looking at everything and I'm preparing, I just wasn't settled on the all about spelling. I knew that with her history and science, it was going to be a little bit more teacher intensive for me, and I just did not know if I had the energy mentally or emotionally to give to one more thing. I also just knowing my child, I did not feel like it was the right approach. So after a little bit of research and prayer, we decided to go with this. It is the IEW Phonetic Zoo. So these are the lesson cards. This is the audio. We started her with level A, and then I have her notebook right here, and then this is a binder for her zoo cards. So for every lesson that she passes, I give her a card and she can build her zoo. And if you know anything about my girl, she loves animals, so it was a fantastic way to motivate her. And let me just say, like I said, we're 10 days into the school year. She's still in lesson 2, but this is fantastic. This is exactly what we needed. Now, with that said, I was telling a friend this the other day. I think that this is definitely suited to her learning style, but I also feel like she's ready. She is finally ready to learn how to spell correctly. She's more aware of where she is, and she knows that she has work to do, and she's ready to do the work. I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, for the longest time since we were homeschooling, I felt like the issue was me. Maybe I wasn't pushing her enough. Maybe, I just wasn't as helpful to her as I needed to be. We've used Spelling UC, and last year we did an Evan Moore workbook for spelling, and honestly, neither one of those things made a huge difference. But this, I can already tell, is exactly what she needs. We do it a little bit different than what they suggest. She listens to the audio to the lesson, and then when that is over, while she's listening, she has her lesson cards. So she reads along with it, the jingle and then the words. And then we press pause. I read the words out to her. She spells them, and then she turns the audio back on and she self-corrects. And I think that self-correcting has made a tremendous difference because she's paying more attention. And like I said, I believe that she's ready for it. So I feel like the readiness, you know how they have to be ready to read? I'm coming to the point where I believe the same thing goes for spelling. They just have to be ready, and she's ready, and this is working, and I'm so thankful. Okay, something else that's new for my girl, math. We decided to go with the Simply Good and Beautiful Math 5, and I'm happy to report I am very pleased. Now, what I have decided to do for the beginning of the school year is she works on 3 to 4 lessons out of this, and then for the remainder of the week, she'll work on 2 to 1 lessons of teaching textbooks. So this is her course book. And then she has a scratch notebook that she works with. There is also another portion to this. It is the mental math book. And we actually tried to use it in the beginning, but it actually just became too frustrating, and I set it aside. I know that that sounds a little bit crazy, but after looking at it and after going through this with her, I think if you have an above average student in math and you want to take it to the next level, then the mental math is perfect. But I don't really know if it's helpful for just the average child. Again, it was causing more frustration for us, and you know what, there's no reason to make it more frustrating, so we just set it aside and we focus on the lesson. She does watch the videos that go with it. I'm gonna flip the one she hasn't started on. So like at the beginning of each lesson, there's a video, and then she does the practice, and then we get straight into the lesson. Now, some of the lessons have a lot of problems. If I feel like it's necessary, she will do all of them, but if it is a concept that I can tell that she understands and she has grasped, I'll just go through and pick the ones that I want her to do. But there is a ton of practice in here for the students. And then the same thing goes for the review, because not only do they have the lesson and the practice, but then there's a review section. Let me see if I can find a review. I'll show you this one. So like this is lesson 47. I just don't want to show you her work. So this is lesson 47, and do you see where it is review? So they are just spiraling through what they've already gone over. So this one has 5, but as you can see, for each one, there's more than one problem. And then like this one, this is another review. which lesson is this for? This is for lesson 43. This is fractions and one whole. This one isn't as much, so it really just depends on the day, and we take it a day at a time, and just overall how the lesson is going. So today she completed, what did she complete? She completed lesson 11, yes. So yeah, lesson 11, and then she'll start on lesson 12 tomorrow. And even just looking at those two lessons, you know, there's a different amount of work. So again, it just really depends on how she's doing. But I wanted to share that. This is going well. I think it is a fantastic transition. Like I've mentioned before, we've used teaching textbooks in the past, but I want to transition them from the computer to more paper and pencil, and teaching textbooks is going to take more of a supplemental role in our homeschool. But this is going well. I did toss the mental math, and when I tossed it, it's going awesome. Okay, so let's talk about English. This is Annabeth's English work text. This is BJU Press for 5th grade. We have already, let's see, yeah, we've already completed chapter 1. So this is the second edition. The second editions have 16 chapters, and they are broken into 160 lessons. So you spend about 2 weeks on each chapter. We've already entered into chapter 2. So as you can see, chapter 1 was all about sentences. Chapter 2, we are going to be focusing on writing, specifically writing a compare and contrast essay, and that's something else I love about BJU Press. Every chapter, every unit alternates between writing and grammar. So from there, we'll go straight into nouns, and then her next writing project will be writing a persuasive business letter. But what I want to say is it's going well. She's transitioning well. Again, I can already see that foundation. But what I wanted to point out in this one, now that we are on a writing chapter. Oh great, this is it. So this is what we did today. This is lesson 12. And what I really love about the writing, there is a teaching time, but they also provide an example for the student. And here is the example. It says that this is Antonio's compare and contrast essay, but as you can see, it's written in cursive. And my girl, she started learning cursive, I think last year, and it's continuing. But I love the fact that she is having to learn to read it as well, and she's doing a really good job. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. I know sometimes we talk about these workbooks, but we really don't get to see what is inside of them as they advance to the higher grades, and I'm so pleased with that. And what I want to say too, because I have already taught English 5 by BJU Press to my son, what I want to say is not all of the essays are like that. They do, when they introduce it, it is in cursive, but when it comes to like editing, they put it back in print to help the child to see what they need to edit. So I hope that that's clear. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is probably the thing that I'm most impressed with, and that is my daughter's history program. We are using the Heritage Studies for grade 5 by BJU Press. So this is her actual workbook, and then this is her activity manual. So I just kind of wanted to show you what these two things look like. Right here I have the teacher's manual, and I have the activity manual key. So this looks exactly like her activity manual, except it has all of the answers. So just so you can see here, this page specifically goes with lesson 12, and all of the answers are right here. And I could not be more happy with this. This is going so well. I love the way that this is laid out. I love how helpful the teacher's manual is, and I love the discussion that it is providing. So this course has 20 chapters, and you spend anywhere from 8 to 10 days on a chapter. It just depends. It depends on how your homeschool works. It depends on your student. It depends on if you are incorporating any extra projects. And the activity manual tells you what to read, and what I've seen so far, we only read 3 pages a day. So let's just, to give you an example, so here's chapter 3. So if we were starting this is page 47. We would read page 47, 48, and 49. And I think that that is just enough. And what we do is we read it together. We take turns reading just so it's not all on her or all on me. And then the teacher's manual provides discussion questions. And the discussion questions are amazing. A lot of it is just reinforcement, but then there are also some critical thinking questions that go along with the lesson, and it's going really, really well. Now, the activity manual, like I said, this is the answer key. Her activity manual is right here. I think that this complements very, very well. And what I mean by that, this is not a typical workbook. This is laid out very well, and I want to give you an example of that. Let me go to the newest chapter. Okay, so this is lesson 10. Yeah, lesson 10. So if the chapter doesn't start with some type of map skill worksheet, it will have it in the middle. It just depends on the actual chapter. But this chapter actually started with some map skills. This next page is what they call the looking ahead. So these are all of the words, vocabulary words, and concepts they will be learning about in the chapter, and they encourage the child to go through it. Next, the workbook pages are broken up by reinforcement and review. What I really, really love about the reinforcement pages are the questions. If you are taking the time to go through the discussion questions after the reading, your child will have no problem with this. I also love the variety that they provide for the reinforcement pages. Let me show you what the review looks like. So this is the study guide. This does come with the option to test. We are doing the test, and I'm actually doing the test as open book, but this is the study guide. As you can see, you have a variety of questions. It is front and back, but if your child takes the time to do the study guide, they will have no problems with the test. But my favorite part of the workbook, let me flip on over here, is the part that's called the biblical connection. Can you see that? Do you see at the bottom how it says the biblical connection? So this is all about worldviews and comparing worldviews, and this is just an organizer, and it's broken up into 3 charts. And like I said, this is all about comparing worldview. So this first chart has the child think about the worldview of the Spanish. So there's a question here, and then they are to answer that question with an answer. And then this chart is all about the biblical point of view. So again, based off of what we've already learned from our reading, they answer this question. And then this blue chart right here at the top, it says my point of view. It has the child compare the 2 views. And the question for this one was, what do you think about the Europeans taking the land that belonged to the American Indians? Write your conclusion using evidence from the Bible. What I really love about this is not only are they teaching children history, but they are also teaching them the different world views and how that affected that point in history. So we have the worldview of the Spanish, we have what the Bible says, and then it has the child write their point of view based off of what they learn. I just really love that so much, because as we're learning about history, BJU Press has us go back to the Bible to see what the Word of God says, and they also make time for the children to process that information. So this has been really surprising. I'm not gonna lie, I was overwhelmed at first because I wasn't sure how we were gonna fit this in. it's turned out to actually be one of my favorite picks for the school year. So anyway, friends, that's all I have for you. This is my very first check-in for the school year. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope your school year is going well. Please let me know below in the comments how your school year is going, if you've started yet, if you're using any of these things, if you have any questions, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.